So we're recording. Backup plan. So those of you on live get an extra little bonus because you are now the only ones that will get to ask questions. But don't worry, I think we're going to cover all of the hot topics. And if there is any late to the game questions, I'll make sure to get them answered for you guys and bring that back to our team. But I'll try again in a few minutes after we get rolling, and I pass it on to Jemima here. But before we get started, there's a couple quick announcements. Please, if you have not watched the National Wake Up Call today, do that. It was all about simplifying, and so often that is like the overcomplication is what we hear nonstop, like banging your head against the wall. Please take time to listen to that. And then I wanted to update you guys on a few things that were not on our team calendar because the Diamond Insider just came out. And that is the release. So all this month is going to be the special parties at Summit ticket promotions. So the Success Club party, the Leadership party, all that jazz. Head to the FAQ to check out those requirements. But if you're going to Summit, please go to those FAQs in the breaking news and read how to get your butts to those parties because they're the best part of Summit. They're so much fun. And then, so on May 20th, this is what is not on our calendar, the Vegan Chocolate Recover is being launched. So please mark that down. And I am going to be hosting the coaching sneak peek with Alicia this month, and I was going to talk to her about having that integrated into a prize giveaway and making that a big focus of all of our events for the team this month. So, and then the last thing is next week, we are kicking off our team-wide free group. Heather is hosting that with a few of her coaches, and it is going to be focused on around Mother's Day. And so it's going to be a 5-day meal plan, all 5 ingredients or less, and also a daily free group type of a content based on parent-child relationships. So it's going to be a group loaded with amazing content and amazing information. She just posted a great example of a call to action in our team page, and I'm also going to be linking the group in Fit Forward and sending out an email with that link as well. So again, Amy, you're the first face I see. Hughes, do you mind posting in the team page while I get Jemima set up here, just that we're not going live and we're going to record? Cool. So I already kind of gave you the lowdown on why I wanted this call, but Jemima is from compliance, and although this is like, no offense, Jemima, like the least like sexy topic we can talk about, I believe it is the absolute most important topic we could talk about. You know how all the top coaches you'll hear say over and over and over again that it's the mundane things, the boring things that like built their business into the success that it is today. I believe that compliance is a part of that. Like, you can't ignore the things that might not be fun to learn, might not be fun to hear, if you're really taking this seriously and you're really treating this like you are the CEO of your business. And there's a lot of noise in the roundtable group right now about different topics and possible P&P changes and things like that. And I kind of just wanted to have her voice instead of us reading the P&P or misinterpreting FAQs and all that stuff on some hot ticket items. And I asked her to kind of kick us off with the things that she hears most from coaches. But can you kind of introduce yourself to everyone first? We would love to hear about you.
Oh, sure. Well, thanks. First of all, I really appreciate it. And to Sarah's point, compliance is definitely not the sexiest part of your role or your job or your opportunity, but an important one nonetheless. So I'll try to keep it brief and light, and happy to answer any questions you have now or later. Let's see. This is not my first time at Beachbody. I came to Beachbody in 2008 in a different role, also within the network. Unfortunately, at the time, not working for Michael Neiman. And about 5 months later, I hated it so much I couldn't stand it any longer, and I officially went in and quit. And my final conversation before I left the building was with Carl, and he looked at me and he said, I respect your choice. I think you're making a huge mistake. You're going to look back in 20 years and regret this decision. And I said, great, Carl, congratulations. Best of luck. See you later. And a year later, I came back. So there you go. And this August will be 10 years with Jonathan. So my time has been served.
Wow.
But really happy to be with you guys tonight. And to Sarah's point, I think there's obviously our P&P is not the shortest. Lord knows it's like 50 some pages long between the policies and the compensation plan. It's a lot. It's great for insomnia if you have it. But certainly something where I think I can give you some highlights. And then as you ever look at things, have questions about things, have some of your newer coaches ask questions that sort of make you scratch your head, know that you can always reach out to us with questions. I think a lot of the feedback we get from you all really helps drive the changes that make the business better for all of you. So no matter how positive, negative, concerned, whatever your opinion is, please know that the door is always open to you, and there's never any offense taken on anything that's raised. So despite what some may tell you. So I have sort of a top 5. We often talk about compliance top 10, and there is a top 10 FAQ. It's FAQ 4057, so 4057. So feel free to visit that at any point. But because it's a lot, I figured we'd focus on 5 things that are sort of top of mind right now, both for the industry and obviously for Beachbody. Number 1 for direct sales, whether it's Beachbody or any other name you might know in our space, is income claims. Income claims, income claims, income claims. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people come to this business, and one of the first things they hear, aside from we have great products or I love such and such program, is I'm making great money. And absolutely, is this a business? Yes. Do you have the opportunity to make a great income? Absolutely. And for some people, they may come to this opportunity looking for a little extra grocery money. Others may try to replace a full-time job at some point, depending on their circumstances. But we really, really want to get across the point that when you're talking about income, whether it's potential income or income you've earned that's related to Beachbody, you absolutely have to use the income disclaimer in your posts. I cannot be more clear about it. Don't ever hesitate about using it. It's so much better that you use it than don't use it. And also good to know the income disclaimer that we provide you, it's 2 or 3 sentences long. It's very legally, but it's that way for a point. And so please don't make it your own. Please don't make it like, work is hard. Beachbody is fun. You can earn money. Love the spirit, but it doesn't get the point across to a regulator. And right now for the regulators, that's everyone from the FTC, which is a Federal Trade Commission, all the way on down to your local consumer watchdog group. They are out looking for income claims. So we want to make sure that you guys are on the right-hand side of things and are protected. Really, ideally, with 99% of our policies, they really are for the industry standard and to protect you from any harm. They're not Michael Lehman likes it this way or Jonathan Gelfand likes it this way, or certainly not that I like something a certain way, but just really to keep you in a good business position where you're not running afoul of a larger regulatory agency or attorneys general or anything like that. So income claims are key.
I have a question on the income claims.
Sure.
Do we have to, if we are not putting any text about numbers in the photo, does it also have to be on the photo or only on the photo if the photo has numbers?
Oh, that's a great question. So when you're talking about numbers, when you're talking about income, I should say, income claims can be both implied and direct. So Sarah taking a photograph in her car, in her brand new shiny Corvette with $1,000 bills bursting out of it is obviously not implied. She's telling you that she has a gajillion dollars in a brand new car and wouldn't you like to be like her? Whereas she may just make a statement like her sitting in the sand on a beach somewhere with her toes in the sand saying, my life is so much better thanks to Beachbody.
Mm-hmm.
The key thing about the posting and the disclaimer, Sarah, is more about that it's visible. So whether you put it in or overlay it on the photos, often like we show at events where it'll actually be within the photo that you share,
Mm-hmm.
or whether it's in your original post and not in your comment feed, either works.
Okay, great to know.
Yeah. So income claims, if you're making a claim about income, direct or implied, please include the income disclaimer. And for those of you who have coaches in your organizations that are in the UK, please note that our income disclaimer for the UK is different than what works for US and Canada. So when you're referring somebody to the proper language, always point them to the P&P for their country, and that will be sure that they have the most direct, most correct, most up-to-date language.
Okay.
That's tip number one. Tip number two falls along the same area, and that is product claims. So I drank Shakeology, and now I don't have to take my blood pressure medication anymore. Or I did such and such workout, and now I don't have sciatica and scoliosis anymore, so I've been cured. Whether it's something that you drank or a workout program that you did, you can't correlate a program or a product to a cure, or even really correlate it to a direct impact on an illness, a chronic condition, whether it's a disease, short-term or long-term. You working out, solely you working out, or you drinking Shakeology or taking a Beachbody performance supplement did not improve or cure your disease or your injury, etc. So a good rule of thumb is, if you'd like to post a story about a great result that you had, where it comes to just, hey, I did Transform 20 and 60 days later or what have you, I've lost 18 pounds, I'm so excited, not a problem at all. When it's the, I did this and now I feel that, you can say things like, I feel so much better now having completed X program, or I feel healthier since I've incorporated Shakeology into my daily diet, fine. But you can't correlate it to a specific cure. When it comes to claims about what a product does, particularly in the area of our nutritionals, any claim that you see on our packaging, you are free to use. So if you look in your product training guide, if you look on a bag of Shakeology, I just happen to have 1 or 30 of them in my office, you'll see various statements about what it does, what it might be able to do for you. Those are statements that we've clinically researched and have validated studies for based on our own clinical research, R&D studies, etc. So that kind of statement you can include in your post. When you're a US coach, you want to make sure that when you're using these claims, you're also including the FDA disclaimer, which for those of you in the US, when you get your nutritionals, you'll see something generally on the bottom corner of a package that has a box around it, and it says something about the FDA. That's the FDA disclaimer that you want to include. So even when you're using our approved claims that you find on packaging or the product training guides, please be sure if you're a US coach, you're using that FDA call out. Canada does not have the same thing. They do have an agency called Health Canada, which is sort of our FDA equivalent, but the same kind of disclaimer language is not necessarily used, so that is not to be worried about. But in general, no matter what market you're in, US, UK, or Canada, please no claims of cure or chronic illness or injury from drinking something, putting something on your body, working out to a particular program. That's something you want to definitely stay away from. If you're trying to tell a story and you have something great that you want to share and something exciting and you need some help just sort of crafting the language around it, you can always email it to us and we can give you some guidance about what you can leave in, what you need to take out, maybe some other language that you can include that will make it above board and still give you the opportunity to share your great results in a way that doesn't run you afoul of regulatory standards. So that's number two. The third one is, third and fourth sort of go hand in hand, and that's where there's a lot of current discussion, and that's our credit card policy and what's bonus buying. So from the credit card policy statement that we have, and a lot of you may either have coaches that got an email from my team, or maybe you got an email from my team. You're in good company, it's not just you. But please know that our credit card policy, if you abide by that as we've provided, you will not have the opportunity to find yourself in a predicament with bonus buying. Our credit card policy allows our coaches to use their card on 2 additional accounts other than their own. So I'm a coach, I can use my card to pay for two other people in my family who are either a parent, a spouse, or a child. They can be a coach or they can be a customer. When it comes to parents, yes, it includes in-laws. When it comes to spouses, no, you don't have to be married in the eyes of the church. I don't need your marriage certificate. If your spouse, fiance, domestic partner, what have you, totally all fine. We consider spouses or partners to be in the same household. Parents obviously can be in your house or somewhere else. Children, we're talking about adults, obviously, because we don't have 13-year-olds as coaches. So if it's a parent, spouse, or child, you may use your card to pay for their products or their business service fees if they're a coach. It doesn't mean you run their business. It doesn't mean you place orders in their business center for other people to drive their volume or their activity. But it does mean you can absolutely pay for their services. It's a nice way for many of our coaches to give back to a parent, to a loved one, and help them with their business. So that's what the credit card policy says. So it's what we commonly refer to as U plus two. So it's yourself plus two individuals, either a parent, spouse, or child. If you stay within those confines, your credit card will not be somewhere it shouldn't be. And you can avoid the whole hassle of any sort of concerns about bonus buying. Bonus buying is Sarah coming to me saying like, hey, Jemima, I really thought you were going to be diamond this month. I'm counting on you. I need to get that next bonus. And I'm like, geez, Sarah, I've asked everybody I know. And I even called Jenna and she was like, I don't have room for any other stuff in my cabinet. I can't buy anything else. Go away. And Sarah's like, hey, don't even worry about it. I know my friend Ashley would love some more products. So I'm going to use my credit card. I'm going to buy it on your account. We're going to ship it to her. And then you'll go to Diamond, and then I'll go to Executive Platinum Princess Diamond, which is my made-up rank for these calls. There is literally another MLM. I will leave their names out of it, but they have their top ranks as Executive Princess and Executive Emperor. Don't go there because they have a cooler title. That's just my statement. It's nice. But so Sarah uses her credit card, creates an order for Ashley in my business center, isn't my order, isn't my credit card, and it's not going to me. That's bonus buying. She's making my rank be a certain way, either maintaining my rank or forcing it up to achieve something else. So bonus buying is what you can most easily correlate to. I love the comment on the way, by the way. I have to stop reading your chat so I can talk to you guys. But bonus buying is typically the kind of activity where it's just all a house of cards. So nobody's really operating their own business. People are paying for other people's accounts outside of what the allowance is, and everything's just sort of tenuously sitting there unbalanced. It's often what people will often correlate to a pyramid scheme. So from a regulatory standpoint, there are very strong anti-pyramiding laws which were put in place to protect you not only as a distributor, but also you as a consumer. And so that's why we have these very strict guidelines around how you can use your credit card. If you have somebody that you want to buy product for, if they're a potential customer and they come to you and then I love to buy that, but I don't have the money this month, or I don't have a credit card right now, and you want to do them a solid, buy it through your own Coach account. You're going into your own Coach account, you're using your own credit card, you're drop shipping it to them, everything's on the up and up. But the whole, oh, she's like a sister, she's my hairdresser, I mean, she's practically like my sister. Please avoid that wherever you can. If you have a really unique circumstance, again, that you think is worthy of some attention or a potential exception, again, that's what we're here for. Please reach out, let us know what's going on, and we'll do whatever we can to help you. But from a sort of keeping the network on the level and making sure that you guys are protected and we're operating a great business, we're pretty stringent on that area. So if you just remember that if you follow credit card policy, bonus buying won't be a hassle for you. That's the easiest, simplest, best tip you can share with your team.
I have a quick question on the drop ship thing. So like
Sure.
if I wanted to send my customer a gift, like I like to send Fixate cookbooks sometimes.
Yeah.
Is there a dollar limit on what we can do?
No, that's a great question, Molly. And there really isn't. There really hasn't ever been one established, because we figure if you're buying it compliantly in your own business center, whether you want to buy Sarah a cookbook or you want to buy her 100 challenge packs. That's sort of up to you.
Okay, and I could still just put in her address and the shipping and everything.
Yeah, I will say, just so you know, because occasionally this will come up, and I think it's not really from a policy concern, but just more of a clerical matter. We do have order limits in place, some of which are systematic. So you'll see a drop down where you can't choose more than a certain number. Some other products you can fill in your number, but we do have a report that gets reviewed for high frequency orders and bulk orders, because we also do have a lot of coaches like you guys who have gyms and may order a lot of product, or we have random new people approach us who are super excited and maybe they're running a corporate wellness program at their office and they don't know what our guidelines are or anything like that. They'll place a large order. If one of those comes up, it'll just flag on our report. We'll just call you and say, hey, what's this for? And go over it with you and release it.
Okay.
But no restriction. If you want to buy one cookbook, or you want to buy 10 cookbooks because you're having a retreat, or you're doing a special challenge with your customers that month and you want to award cookbooks to the top 10 achievers, totally fine. Does that help? Great. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've covered income claims, product claims, credit card usage, the ugly topic of bonus buying. Last thing, 2 things. I'll say 5, but I'll leave you with 1 extra tip. The last thing I wanted to talk about was solicitation and our guidance over basically non-solicitation, which is when you're a Beachbody coach, you don't spend your time selling me everything else that you might sell or have an affinity for. So obviously we have some pretty strict restrictions from a solicitation for another direct sales business. We also know, though, that more and more these days our coaches, because of the kind of work that you do and because of the great presence you have on social media, you get approached by a lot of other fitness companies, nutritional companies, great brand ambassador position, oh, be a spokesperson for us, oh, be an ambassador, any number of things they might call it. And from that standpoint, we don't take any issue with you having any kind of affiliation like that, but we do want you to be mindful of how you're incorporating that role into your Beachbody business. Think about it from the standpoint that a lot of the people that are coaches with you, chances are you had some ongoing conversation with them. They didn't just blindly reach out to you and say, I want to sign up today as a coach, but you had some sort of getting to know each other period of time, and they know you and reach out to you and have joined you because of Beachbody. They may be interested in other things that you talk about, and if they are, great, but keep in mind that your coaches and customers are there to work with you in your Beachbody community and don't necessarily love the idea of getting solicited for your favorite this, your favorite that, etc. Again, posting something like, hey, I bought this new pair of leggings, they're amazing, have you guys ever tried brand such and such, they're awesome, or I found a great new peanut butter, or I found a great new blah. We're not saying don't talk about what you like and what you buy and what brands you support, but just be mindful of, if you have another business affiliation where you're reaping some kind of benefit, whether it's points or rewards or discounts, that you're mindful of how you portray that on social media. And you can certainly discuss it on social media, but you can't target your coaches and your customers. So not a group email about my new job as a brand ambassador for the greatest new potato chip ever, and you got to go buy some and use my code and I get the 10% kickback. But just be mindful of your relationship with these people, because they love you guys for a great reason and they want to maintain that relationship. And sometimes they don't feel comfortable speaking up and saying like, hey, would you mind taking me off your list for, or could you not include me on the such and such for this? I really am working on this with you and I'd like to stick with that. Trust me, if they have an interest about something that you're posting about, they're going to reach out and ask you. But it's greater when they're coming to you as opposed to feeling like they're just getting bombarded by you for things outside of Beachbody. You guys have so much to communicate about to your team on a business level and obviously to your challengers as you run these amazing groups. So if that's your focus, it's often appreciated when it's just a little bit more straightforward. So that's a brief sort of highlight of non-solicitation. There's a lot of stuff that sort of lives in that murky world. So if you look at the non-solicitation policy, whether it's with regards to our guidance about participation in other MLMs versus just non-solicitation over an additional business opportunity, you have a complementary business that isn't in the direct sales space. If you have questions about your own situation, please reach out. There is no harm. There's no, aha, you told us something. We'd rather sort of try to explain things to you and give you your options and talk about what you're looking to do and find a happy medium. And likewise, if you have a prospect that you're working with as a potential new coach, more and more prospects are reaching out, asking questions before signing up. They want to make sure they sort of have a better lay of the land. If you have somebody with a unique situation that wants to sort of ask some questions before they get to that final stage with you and you're not quite sure how to answer the questions they have, we can have a call with you together. We can give you some guidance directly and you can pass it along, whatever you prefer to do, but we're always happy to have those conversations at any point.
I'm not sure if this is going to be your bonus tip or not, but I want to make sure we have time to cover it because I think it's like the most pressing thing right now, especially in the roundtable, and something that I do not want to mislead coaches on. And I think that there was a lot of misunderstanding maybe, or maybe there was a change I wasn't aware of. Can you briefly touch on spouse accounts and running an account with your spouse?
Yes, I will give you the brief 411 on where we are today. And then I will say that there has been understandably great interest by those on the roundtable to have sort of a where do we stand update from our policy standpoint. I can say this, our policy has not changed. It's not changing. I think it's been long-standing various interpretations of what certain things mean. And certainly over the course of our business and as our network has grown, I think messaging has perhaps gotten more refined as we've grown. But to give a little bit more background behind that, to Sarah's point, there's been a concern raised that from a compliance standpoint, we're going after spouse accounts. We actually didn't come up with that name. That's more of like a coach term that I think come up. But as we have always said, when you're beginning as a coach, if you have family members who want to join you also as coaches, of course they're welcome to join you. Of course they're welcome to be a part of your team. And we know that spouses often work together because you're spouses and you work together, live together, love together, all of that. So we expect that you would naturally work the business together. And generally, in most situations where we have two spouses working together, one tends to be maybe a little bit more dominant in the business role. Maybe you're the face and your husband's more behind the scenes or vice versa. Beachbody's in a unique situation that most direct selling companies don't allow more than one distributor position per household. We came out at the start and said, listen, if husband and wife both want to be coaches with us, why would we say no if they're both interested? So definitely more detail to come on this, but to be totally simple about it in terms of just the basics, yes, you and your spouse can work together, absolutely. Where we have concerns strictly from a compliance standpoint and the real situations we've been reaching out on, despite what you may have heard, is the people that we call where there seems to be some either incomplete or potentially incorrect information on their account. When someone enrolls as a coach, we check to see that their enrollment is complete in the sense that their account got created with all the data we need to be able to ship you product, obviously process your credit card that you provided, pay you, important things like that. We also check to make sure that we have a valid tax ID number or social security number. It's what every business does. So we are not alone in the standard. Where we see that there may be an issue or a discrepancy, very often, which is completely innocent and not intended, we reach out and just try to clarify, hey, it looks like, your husband signed up yesterday, maybe in his excitement and haste, he pressed send twice and actually created two coach accounts. We're going to close one, but leave this one for you. Just wanted to make sure this is up to date. Where there is an issue of incorrect information or any question as to when we reach out and say, hey, just wanted to make sure we could help you complete your account. And somebody says, well, I don't have a coach account with you guys. I mean, I drink that Shaco stuff that you make, but I don't sell your stuff. Obviously, it raises our eyebrows. We want to make sure somebody wasn't signed up without their knowledge, which unfortunately does happen from time to time, or that we get some sense of what did they participate in when the enrollment happened. When you enroll as a coach, that's the time at which you're agreeing to policies and procedures, terms and conditions. That's the time where you have the ability to be most informed about creating this business. And understandably, because of the popularity of our products and our programs and the great advantage that the coach position provides, especially where it comes to preferred pricing, a lot of people opt to become coaches who aren't necessarily going to work the business, what you all have sort of come up with as discount coaching. Again, happy to have people be coaches, want to make sure they're aware that they're coaches, want to make sure that they actually enroll themselves. Sometimes they had an interest, but they didn't know that their spouse just created an account for them and their excitement. Again, 99% of the time we can work through it and correct anything. It's really, our goal is to fix anything we can and keep the number of accounts that we actually have to close to an absolute minimum. I think the other thing I can compare it to is the thought of, boy, compliance must be out there suspending hundreds of coaches a day. If I showed you our suspension list, which obviously I won't, but if I showed it to you, you'd be surprised at the few number of coaches within this entire community of 370,000 people who are ever in suspension, truly in suspension at one point in time. It is very, very small. So when we reach out to you with regards to a question about an account, if it's not your account, if it's your spouse's account, we may reach out to them because it's their account. You're the sponsor, or if you are their sponsor, we're obviously going to put you on thread because we want to give you the courtesy of knowing what we're asking. And if you see something and you're like, I think they misunderstood, or, oh no, an error must have happened when we enrolled, then we'll work with you to fix that. There's many ways we can update an account and fix it and bring it up to speed, but we always want to make sure that from the start, we have the right information on file, because if you enroll and have incorrect information on your record and you start building this business, it's so much harder to clean it up and make it right down the road than if we can fix it earlier on. So I'll leave it at that for now. I know that's sort of curtailed, but I would love to give you the benefit of the larger discussion when that happens. I think the plan is, at least initially, that the conversation or the call will take place on the roundtable, but we will absolutely make that more widely available to the entire coach community. And I expect that people like your leadership will also take what's actually shared on the roundtable and have the opportunity to post it into your team page. And again, any questions, always, please feel free to reach out. We truly, truly want to work with you guys and be partners with you and help be a part of your evolution and training. So don't be scared. We're truly here to help, and nothing is too strange to ask, nothing is too little or insignificant, and nothing is too large. We hear anything and everything you can imagine. We've dealt with some incredibly challenging situations where coaches are personally struggling, and we adore you guys so much and have such great appreciation for what you do on a daily basis for all the people that you help. So we want to support that and make this the most amazing and best experience that it can be for you.
I love that. I feel like you guys are such an underutilized tool. It's compliance@teambeachbody.com. Like, use it. Like she said, you can even draft a post to them and they will like get back to you. Like, that is amazing. And they want us to succeed more than you understand. I know there's a lot of like very detailed questions about the spouse accounts and some other things. Like she said, we will get back to you as the leaders that are involved in the roundtable with the important need to knows as soon as we get our hands on that. So please know that. But besides that topic, dissecting that, does anybody else have questions while we have her for a few more seconds that maybe you want clarification on, or maybe you've run into in the past?
Silence.
I know, it's always like that, huh?
No, but I'll just second how helpful everyone is at compliance. Even the simplest things, shooting it over. Anytime there's a hesitation or a concern, they're so quick to get back.
I had no idea that you could sign up a significant other that you weren't married to. I mean, you learn something every single day from
we
the
just
daily.
ask that you don't sign up your dog.
Yeah.
Sign up your dog.
Yeah.
It happens.
That's all good.
I mean, people think we're joking, but I found one like 2 months ago. I was like, what a great name. And then I was like, that's actually the dog. So don't sign up your dog. Don't sign up your dead friend or relative, please. God forbid. I know it sounds awful, but people do it. Again, I truly think most of the time they really, truly have the best intention. And I never want to quelch somebody's enthusiasm, but yeah, animals can't be coaches, and people who have passed and gone to the next event are not able to be coaches.
What's the age limit for a child?
For now, in the markets that we are currently in, the lowest age is the age of majority, which for all of our countries currently is 18.
Okay.
From a customer standpoint, there's always been some question, and state to state, those guidelines vary. Our sort of overarching policy on customers is 13. There are some states where there's some variance, tends to be the sort of less populated states, some of the smaller populations, maybe in some of the more rural areas, the state and county guidelines even differ. But 13 is generally a standard. And we don't have any problem with your kids being customers if they meet that requirement, but we just want to be mindful sometimes. Sometimes as coaches, you'll find that you have people on your team, whether they're adult challengers or coaches, they may have a child that works out with them or participates with them in some part of their fitness, and then they really want to sign up their child. And sometimes coaches even have kids approach them and they're like, I don't know, this girl said she was 14. Can I work with her? I mean, I would say, think of it as you would for your own family member, be it your child, your niece, your nephew, some child that you love and adore, related or otherwise. Just be mindful of how you help and approach. But by all means, if it ever becomes a question of, can I do this, or this person approached me, or can I give them some guidance with how they can involve their kids, don't hesitate to ask.
Jemima, real quick. So for that,
Yes.
just to be clear, that in-claimers there. So if you put, how much you make on a post,
Yes.
you have to put the disclaimer on the picture, just in the comment. Is that right?
Right. You can put it on the picture itself, or you can put it in the post itself.
Okay.
What we want to avoid is it going into the comment feed where it's like, it's a 70-second comment down the thread and gets sort of missed.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was another thing I learned. I always thought I always put it everywhere because I wasn't sure, but I'd rather streamline it with just one thing. But so many little nuggets, you guys, that can literally save you a near heart attack experience. So let's just follow the rules. Yeah, let's just follow the rules and utilize the tools that we have. And like I said, I don't know if you saw my comment, but there's a couple really awesome summit tracks that are going to be happening that will probably also help clarify these topics. So if you're not going to summit, spanking, first of all, but second of all, those workshops will be available for you as well to watch those recordings. But thank you so much, Jemima. We appreciate your time so very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Yes, so glad you came back. All right.
Have a great night.
Have a good night, everyone.